Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're doing a USA forecast for today's second video. So as always, on a Wednesday, we're having an extended look at the weather for the next 6 weeks across America. And I should get to that for you in a moment. Just to say that first video, say for 6 a.m. upload. I'm going to be live streaming with our 10 to 14 dayer this evening. That'll be coming up from around 6 p.m. We'll show some long range with that as well. Final Wednesday live stream, probably until we get into the summer. So if you could, please check in for that one. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe on videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And I do hope you're having a lovely Wednesday as well. Right, let's start off with the week 1 500 millibar heights only for America. This is the current week, the 27th of March to the 3rd of April. So big trough of low pressure across central, northern and western parts of America, with a ridge down across the far south and southeast. Means that most parts of America look quite cold there, especially in the north and the west, but down in the south and the southeast it should be quite a lot drier and also warmer. The temperature anomaly looks like that. So in the southeast corner, temperatures are above average. Elsewhere, generally a colder than average week to come, especially so through the western states, again from the Pacific coast of Rockies and up here across the central northern parts of America towards the Midwest, looking very cold through there. In the east, it's actually quite cold, like through many of these eastern states, just on the coast itself, just on the eastern seaboard. A little bit less cold there, but overall looking quite cold across much of the states away from the southeast this week. And precipitation-wise, actually quite a lot of dry weather, with a few exceptions. So wet here in the west and also in the northeast, well, in the east around the Great Lakes. In between, though, a lot of dry weather through the central states, particularly through like the Rockies and into towards the Midwest as well. Eastern seaboard looks generally quite dry too. A little bit oddly, it is on the wet side down in the southeast corner where we have that ridge of above average height. So, you know, it could be a little bit volatile there with the with the air masses clashing with one another, despite the above average heights. It may be that we're getting a bit of a contrast, and that would yield thunderstorms and whatnot. So that could be what's going on there. Right, week 2. Yeah, week 2 will be the 3rd to the 10th of April. Here we go. So we find the ridge building up the east coast again, as it has done on and off over the past few months. The trough of low pressure is out in the west and the northwest again. So jet stream probably going to be doing something a little bit like that. It should be relatively warm, I would have thought, up the east coast. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. So, yeah, we see that area of milder weather above average temperatures sort of expanding out there through those eastern parts of the states and into the southeast too. Meanwhile, out west, it's colder than average still through much of the northern and western part of America. Again, from the Pacific coast all the way towards the Midwest, really, most places are looking cold on average, and particularly cold again there through the west and also through those central northern parts of America. The long winter goes on through those areas. Precipitation-wise, it looks quite wet over on the eastern side of America. So, again, you know, through the Midwest, up into the Great Lakes, above average precipitation through there. Meanwhile, on the East Coast itself, though, there we see that things are a little bit closer to average. Dry through the southern parts of America, and even out into the west, where we have those cold and average temperature anomalies, it's a little bit on the unsettled side as well. Right, week 3 will be the 10th to the 17th of April. So we get some low pressure across the northeastern part of America this week, a ridge out in the Pacific. Otherwise, it has been a weakening signal. Temperatures still look quite cold, temperature knowledge, especially again from the west in towards the Midwest, east, central, western parts of America. Still looking quite cold, could be a little bit warmer towards the east coast, but even there the signal is quite weak. And then precipitation wise we look like that. So most parts are looking A little bit drier in the west, actually. Big precipitation anomaly going drier there for those western states. Meanwhile, down in the southeast, so it looks a little bit wetter around Florida, for example. Okay, week 4 will be the 17th to the 24th of April. Doing a low pressure through both central parts of America, ridge out in the Pacific through there. Temperature anomalies again looking quite cold really across much of the states from the west coast to the Great Lakes and the Rockies and that, you know, just sort of generally, what I'm talking about, from the Midwest through into the Midwest and the Great Lakes. It's just sort of generally quite cold really across many parts of America. Again, the far southern eastern part looking a little bit milder through there, but this is quite a cold signal, I have to say, for the next month or so. The delayed spring is looking like it's going to continue here for much of the states, unfortunately. Precipitation-wise, the southern states look rather wet. Again, there's contrasting air masses going on, so that could be producing heavy showers, thunderstorms, and, you know, for the time of year, probably tornadic activity as well through most southern part of America. Also looks like it could be a little bit wet at the eastern side, perhaps on the drier side out in the far west there. I'm going to go through the week 5, which is the 25th of April to 5th of May. Very weak signals at this point. The temperature anomaly for week 5 from the 24th of April to 1st of May. Still looking rather cold on average in the west. It's amazing how long this is going on for. The cold average temperature anomalies in the west. Bear in mind, these are anomalies to average, so it will still be relatively warm through like California, New Mexico, for example, Arizona, due to the fact that we are going into May at this point. So although being a few degrees below average, it will still be quite hot across those west parts of America. But it's very unusual that this such a prolonged cold and average spell continues through those west states. But anyway, there we go. Cold and average through the west and also a little bit up in the north as well. For those eastern states, the signal is weaker. And no signal for precipitation. And then lastly, we have week 6, which is the 1st to the 8th of May. And it looks like that. And again, nothing really useful from a 500 millibar height anomaly perspective. Temperatures, if we're going to click over, there we go. So could be a little bit warmer for those eastern, northeastern parts of America. Maybe cold, though, out in the west and in the northwest too. Or cold on average, anyway. Out in the west and in the northwest, and precipitation-wise, not much of a signal. So don't look over delayed spring, or, you know, on-off spring, however you want to call it, is going to continue across many parts of America over the next 6 weeks, particularly in the next 3 or 4 weeks. We've got that signal. Things will be colder through both central, north, western areas, cold on average. In the east, probably always a little bit warmer there, but even there, sometimes the cold weather could get through. So yeah, chilly spring goes on. I suppose it's probably mostly down to the late SSW that we had back in February. But then again, we know that America does get into these colder periods more so than we do in Europe over recent years. And it's a mild winter, so the price, I guess, that you're paying over there in the States is with a cooler spring. Anyway, that's it. This week, do it over again next Wednesday. We're going to be back later on, live streaming our 10-14 day for the final time bit on a Wednesday this season. So join me later on for our live stream if you can. But for today's, this week's USA forecast, that's all now. And thanks for watching.